welcome back to the Sim Twins. My name is Brooke, and today we are doing another speed build. Now, this speed build is a large family mansion, and I decided that I wanted to really make a large house because I usually don't in general, and I wanted to test out my skills with terraforming and just the ability to make a large house. So before we get too far into this video, please make sure that you hit that subscribe button and you turn on those notifications so you know every time that we post a new video. But anyway, let's dive right into what I am doing. I decided that I wanted to kind of create this very elegant front entranceway to the house, so I used some terraforming to make the house on a cliff, and then I added in some new eco lifestyle concrete, so that acted as our driveway. And so I didn't get it perfectly symmetrical or round, but I thought that it was okay. You know, I'm not trying for perfection here. I just really wanted to give that look of, you know, I'm thinking of like Beverly Hills, where you drive up the hill to the front of the house and all of that kind of stuff. And so I really just wanted to give it that grand feeling. And working on this layout was a little difficult, I will say, because of the fact that I wanted to make it such a large house. I know that I've been hearing a lot of Simmers talk about this recently, and I haven't actually talked about it as much as usual, as much as them, but the scaling in The Sims 4 is just really awkward and weird. And so I think that in the proportions of the game, they're not really true to life. Like, I feel like if you had a house like this, you would have like way more bedrooms and way more space than I actually put in here. But it's really just based off of the whole proportions that you get within the gameplay itself and how I wanted to make the rooms feel a lot bigger. So that's really just one thing that I had an issue with, is just making the rooms big enough, but also making the overall house plan not too big. So I tried to keep it to 2 stories because I'm really not trying to make this a 3-story house. That would have been a lot. But I really actually enjoyed how this house got laid out. I created a 2nd floor pool because I really enjoy having the windows go into the pool. And originally I had the pool on the 1st floor, but because this house is on a foundation, it would not allow me to add windows except for in the basement part, which defeats the purpose of having windows on your pool. So I just decided to put it on the 2nd floor, and then I could have my windows into my pool. And so I really liked that. Off of the little 2nd floor pool on the 1st floor, there is a nice patio where you can sit and grill outside and eat, and I just really enjoyed adding that in. But with the overall look of this mansion, I went very white and bright, and that is reflected in the color palette that I also chose on the outside. I went with this light stone that I really like a lot. I think it came with bowling night stuff, if I'm not mistaken, but I just really enjoyed it a lot. And I also used some seasoned stone just on the little half walls that you see, just to break up the monotony of it and to give it a little bit more of a masonry feel on that part. And of course, at the 2nd floor where the pool is, I decided to add in a little terrace because I just really love how terraces look. And I originally made the terrace white. I don't know why, because everything else I was going for like a darker color. So I had to end up going and changing all of that fencing that I just did to black so that it would match the rest of the house color schemes better. And I really like how it turned out with the darker little fencing that I used. And I actually expanded the house even more on the front, and that was because I just felt like the front area on the whole place where you entered was just a little too bare, and so I decided to add in those little jutting out parts. And I really liked what I did with those places as well, just because I tried to use the space as efficiently as possible while also making this house feel very grand. One of the things that I think that makes a house feel very grand is to have some interesting landscaping. So I went into debug and I found those planter boxes that honestly kind of remind me if you're on like a golf course or something like that. But I thought, these people would have like very, very nicely done gardens, and they would have a landscaper that would come by and do all of that stuff for them. So I really thought that those planter boxes were a really nice way of showing, they have money. They're not just, your local run-of-the-mill home gardeners. They have the money and the means to hire professionals. And I also really enjoyed the water features out front. I used pools, but the one thing that I don't like my Sims to do is to just jump randomly into a place that I don't deem as a pool. I wanted to originally use the fountain tool, but because we were on foundation, I could not do that, which is why I ended up using the pool tool. But what I did to try and get my Sims not to go into the pool was I used a fence around it, a small fence, so that your Sims can't actually jump into that pool. But for the front door, I decided to go with that nice timber door from Eco Lifestyle that is just really grand and really pretty. And the reason why was the glass doors. I just felt like, this house is large and the people here are probably the people that I thought, the Sims that I thought would fit into this house. They probably would want their privacy. This is their family home. They don't want too many people to be able to see right into their living room. And so I added in that solid door rather than a glass door like I usually do, just because of the whole thing about privacy. I thought that it made more sense to have a door that doesn't have a window through it, just for the privacy aspect. And then on both sides of the house, I decided to frame it up with those little not nautical, with those little island tropical planter boxes as well. I just really enjoy using all of the plants from Island Living. I think they are gorgeous. And here I am now. I am working on the patio area. The patio area is probably one of my favorite spots in the entire build. I just really love how it came together. And out here, I added in a mini fridge and a microwave so that your Sims have everything that they need when they want to have an outdoor barbecue. And I just really enjoyed the thought of having a mini fridge outside. I hardly ever add in mini fridges to my outdoor spaces, but I thought that it worked really well in this place. I also added in a little sink, so then your Sims have a place to do their dishes or whatever they need to do outside without having to go back to the inside. But I also tried to clutter up the space, which is why I think this build in total took me about 5 or 6 hours to do, not just because of the size of it, but also because of the level of detail that I wanted to go with. Because I felt like this Sims family were very elegant and very classy in their taste, I didn't want to over clutter the house. So when I talk about clutter in this sense, I mean just adding in those little decorations that really make this place feel like a home, but also a very elegant home. So it's not going to be like clutter on the floors or anything like that, but it's going to be like really nice details, like what kind of paintings have I used and what kind of little items have I put in the kitchen and in the living space that just makes it feel very nice and elegant. And I did add in one laundry room, so this place has laundry, and every room where I could possibly think that Sims would change their clothes, I added in a hamper space as well, so your Sims can automatically have their clothes thrown into that hamper and then your Sims can get the laundry done. I obviously thought that this would be a perfect pack if you had the vintage glamour one that came with the butler stuff. I unfortunately do not have a butler, but I would love to have a butler with this house because I don't want to be cleaning up after all of these Sims, because you can have up to 8 Sims here. You can have the max amount of Sims living in this place. And if you want to do it with the configuration of the family that I was thinking about when I created this, then you would have 7 kids and maybe a pet or a grandparent or a guest staying over. So what I'm doing here is I decided to create a really nice fire feature because I haven't done one before, and I have watched a bunch of YouTube tutorials about how to make a really cool fire feature, and I just really love how elegant they are, how pretty they are, and just how much they make a house feel different and unique with having a fire structure like this. And so I just followed along with a tutorial that I found on YouTube. I will link the tutorial in the description below if you want to better get an understanding of how to create these fire features, because that helped me out a lot when I was working through this, and I just really enjoyed how it turned out. I player tested everything, so the gallery version, our gallery ID is the SimTwins14, by the way. The gallery version, you can light that up and you can use it as a proper fireplace for your Sims family. But I really wanted to create a double feature wall place for this space over here, which is the main living areas. I think I was looking at pictures of celebrities' houses, and I saw that in a celebrity's house, and I thought, oh my goodness, that looks phenomenal. I really like how they have that differentiation between the two spaces just by having that firewall feature. And so I just really wanted to add that into a build that I did in The Sims, and I've never really done that before. So it was really much more of a challenge for me, but I wanted to take on that challenge, and I wanted to create a space that felt different from the usual spaces that I create in The Sims, and I just really enjoyed how it turned out. So on one side, I consider that more of the formal space where you can entertain guests and you can talk and, have a good time with guests and that. And it's right off of the patio, so it's a perfect place for if you're having an outdoor area where you want to have a backyard party and people eat and they go up to the second floor and they are in the pool and that kind of stuff. And the other part is more of a relaxed space for just the family really to hang out, and that has the TV and just maybe some more relaxed looking furniture and just more cozy. So I used some of the Perfect Patio stuff, or was it? Yeah, Perfect Patio stuff. But anyway, I am now in the kitchen, and the kitchen area was actually, for me, one of the hardest places to define, because the fact of the matter is, even though I feel like this house looks really nice, at the end of the day, I just created a bunch of boxes, and those boxes are sometimes hard to define the space properly. And so building out the kitchen took a while to try and figure out how I really wanted to define this space. But one of the things that I really wanted to add was a butler's pantry, and I really liked how the butler's pantry turned out. And one of the things that I did was I stuck the tea maker and the microwave in the butler's pantry, and that actually came from visiting a friend's house. In their house is nice and grand as well. They have a butler's pantry, and that is where they keep an extra refrigerator and their microwave. And I just thought that's really unique. Like, usually you have your microwave above your stove and it acts as your vent hood. But I mean, in a fancier place like this, you don't really need to have your microwave be in that location. Like, you can have it wherever you want it to. And so I really wanted to kind of replicate what they were doing in their house, and that's why I went with the microwave in the butler's pantry. But one of the things that they have at their house that I absolutely adore, and I would love if I could have this in The Sims 4, is to have double stacking ovens. So as you can see, I put in 2 range hoods on the very back wall, but in real life, I think that this would more have, like, on the wall you would have the 2 ovens and then you would have your range hood somewhere else. But in The Sims, they don't have ovens and range hoods separately, and that's really sad. I would love for them to add that in. I thought that in Cool Kitchen stuff, that would have been a great thing to add, but they went maybe with a little bit more retro vibe for that pack, which is totally fine. The retro vibe is really fun, but I really want to have double ovens without having to use custom content. And of course, I decided to use that hanging planter stuff from Eco Lifestyle. I just think Eco Lifestyle overall, the pack is gorgeous when it comes to wanting to have a very elevated sense of style. I think a lot of this stuff is very elegant in how it was created and designed. There's also other things if you want to go more, along the lines of being eco-friendly or being, kind of upcycled. You have that, but you also have really elegant pieces. And I think that hanging thing that I put in the kitchen is a testament to that. I just love that piece so much. It's probably one of my favorite pieces from all of the Eco Lifestyle pack. And I really decided that in this kitchen I was going to move all of the all of the upper cabinets to just a little higher, and in the end I actually downscaled the size of the island to being 3 wide instead of 4 wide, just because I wanted to be 100% sure that your Sims could walk around and have the space that they need. But I actually added the office off to the side of the kitchen, and the reason why I added in this office space off to the side of the kitchen is because in the family that I had in mind for this house that I was creating, the father is a chef, and so he is working a lot in the kitchen. And then when he needs to take calls or that kind of stuff with clients, and he is a restaurateur and that kind of stuff, it's really easy for him to go and access his stuff because it's right in the kitchen. The little office space is right off to the kitchen, and I just really liked having that off to the kitchen, and I thought that it really used this space well. It is not a big office, but I think that it is very nicely decorated. When I was thinking about this office, honestly, I was thinking so much about how would this background look on a Zoom call. That's how my brain is, like being in Zoom calls like almost all day for work and everything. That's what I am thinking about now when I'm trying to create my offices for my Sims, is if I had them sit down and they were on a Zoom call with their coworkers, how would their background look to their coworkers? So I really wanted to make it look like a very nice, elegant Zoom background. And then here I am. This I consider to be a guest bedroom. It could also be, if you had a butler, it could be the live-in butler's room. I think it is actually the only bedroom that doesn't have an ensuite, which I'm sorry, butler, that you don't have an ensuite, but there are like 10 bathrooms in this build. And one of the things that I really enjoy about the Sims 4 is that you can just copy over whole rooms, and that actually saved me a lot of time, because all of the bathrooms I kept the same in terms of their color scheme, in terms of what they had in them. I just really, really wanted them to be nice and elegant. And when I created one theme for a bathroom, I just decided I would copy over and use that theme in all of the rest of the bathrooms, because I really liked how the color scheme turned out. And I just wanted it to feel like, if these people have a lot of money, I think they would make all of their bathrooms look exactly the same. Because let's be real, if I had a lot of money, that's what I would do. I would make sure that all of my bathrooms look exactly the same. And so here I am creating in this little greenhouse area. I thought that since the father is a chef, he probably does want to grow his own food and be sustainable with that kind of stuff. So I added in the eco planter boxes, but in the build on the gallery, I think it actually has the planter boxes that are just from the base game, because I don't really like how the planter boxes actually turned out when I was using them for gameplay when I was testing. And so I actually end up changing them out to just be the regular ones. But on the other side here, I created a home gym, because if you have this much space for your house, why wouldn't you have your own indoor gym? I think that it is perfectly fine for you to want to have an indoor gym. And I put a huge TV on the wall because I'll be honest, if I am running on a treadmill, I need a distraction. So I usually watch YouTube videos or I watch a TV show. So I need something to distract me. And that's what I thought about when I put in that TV is that if I had a home gym, I would love to have a large screen television in front of me so I could watch that and think about what's going on in front of the screen rather than think about my legs dying as I run. But over in this space, I decided to add in a cozy little nook, and then upstairs, it took me a while with the floor plan, so I apologize that this video might seem a little crazy with the angles of the camera when I'm working on this upstairs part, especially when I was trying to figure out how I wanted to lay out everything. I just didn't know what to do with a lot of this openness because in my eyes, it was just two large rectangles, and that's kind of hard to define room space off of a lot of times. And I wanted to make sure that it didn't feel too cramped, but I also didn't want the hallways to feel too large and that there was a lot of empty space. So in the end, I actually really liked how the floor plan turned out. I managed to fit in so what we have up here is on one side, we have an entire master suite. So they basically have one entire wing of this house. And then on the other side is where all of the children's bedrooms are. The children's bedrooms includes a teen daughter bedroom, a teen son bedroom, a bedroom for twins that could be either boys or girls. Although when I was creating this family, I created twin boys. And then also a little nursery. And the reason why the nursery is small is because in my eyes, once the toddler is grown up, the older brother and older sister are probably away at college. So then they could just move into one of their rooms and take over that space as well. And same with the twins, if the twins didn't want to share the same room forever. Although I really liked how the twins' room turned out, they could also just take over one of their siblings' rooms. But here I am working on the master suite. I originally made this space for the teen daughter, but I end up changing that, and I actually end up moving the parents into here because I originally had the parents' room beside the nursery, but then I thought, oh my gosh, these parents, they have 5 children. They need to have their own little slice of comfort and without their kids coming in to, be loud and close to them. So I decided to move them over to this side of the house so they could have their own little kind of private wing, and out on their balcony, as you will see later, I add in a bar space and I also add in a hot tub. And thinking about it, their little place where they can have their hot tub and everything is on the front of the house. So that's a little weird that it's on the front. But my reasoning for that is that, they probably live in kind of like a secluded area of the hills. People can't come and just see into their front yard that easily. They probably would be out of much. Oh, excuse me. Oh, goodness me. I am so tired during these voiceovers. I need to stop recording too early in the morning. But anyway, in real life, I thought that they would be on a really big hill and that there would be a lot of greenery out front, a lot of large trees, so people can't actually see into their front yard that well. And so they couldn't see that there's a hot tub up on the second story. And just in case the parents wanted to enjoy themselves in the hot tub, no one would actually see that. But yes, I decided to create kind of a walk-in closet-esque feel. I don't have the walk-in closets, which I really, really want the walk-in closets. I don't remember what pack they're from, but I would love to get that pack next so I can have proper walk-in closets. So I just created my own. I really thought that it was kind of fun to do that. I just made that space kind of just have a curtain area, and then I added in the little place where you can change your clothes and that kind of stuff, and put some stuff on the walls so it felt like that was a proper little closet space. And here I am working on the nursery. Again, like I said, I wanted to keep the color scheme black and white. That's even for a lot of the kids' spaces. Although I also wanted to make sure that the kids had everything that they could possibly want. These children, I will say, definitely have all of the stuff that you could ever want when you're growing up. And, you know, with 4 other siblings, like they have all of these siblings to play with all the time. And I just really wanted to make sure that all of their bedrooms had everything that I could possibly think of adding to their bedrooms. And here I am now working on the layout of the 2 teenager rooms. I will say that I think that the daughter's room is a little bit bigger than her brother's room, but it also has some interesting angles on the wall, so I forgive it. I mean, the brother's room is big enough to have a grand piano in it, so that is pretty big in my eyes. But the way that I thought about the daughter is that she is kind of wanting to be an influencer. You know, she has a lot of followers on Instagram and Pinterest and all of that stuff, and what she really likes to do is she likes to be crafty, and so maybe she makes like crafty videos on YouTube and shows people how to craft. And she also does makeup tutorials and all of that kind of stuff that I think about when it comes to like a lifestyle influencer, that kind of thing. And I also created a little closet nook area for her bedroom, which I really liked how it turned out. I gave her that big long curtain on that one side, so it really does feel like this is a place where you can go and change your clothes and no one will see you and all of that stuff. And then I also added in some college pennants and some nifty knitting items and some Discover University stuff, just because I really wanted it to feel like she is a style influencer. She is crafty and that kind of stuff. That's what she does, because, you know, I feel like that is what a lot of young people now want to do. Wow, I just said young people like I'm an old person. I'm not an old person, but I mean people who are my age and younger. Like, everybody wants to be an influencer. Everybody wants to have their own social media channels. They really want to put their life out there. And so that's what, in my eyes, that's what this girl is doing, is that she is creating these videos. She is doing all of this style influencing and crafting stuff. And that's kind of what sets her apart in the lifestyle influencer sphere, is that she also teaches you how to craft, and so that gives people really a reason to watch her channel rather than just the fact that she does her makeup really well. And then outside here on the outside balcony that all of the family can access, I added in a ping pong table and I added in a little kiddie pool, because I thought, you know, if the parents were ever away with the toddler and maybe the twins, I feel like the brother and sister teenagers, they would throw a party. I feel like they would throw like a classic house party. And so, you know, I think that they, with their classic house party stuff, would need a little bit of a place where they could do some ping pong and other things. But in the, this is the twins room. I really enjoyed how the twins room turned out. It was just a big rectangle, so what I decided to do to make the room feel a little less monotonous is I created little sleeping nooks for both of the twins, and then on this side of the sleeping nook for this twin, I added in these little desks from Tiny Living, and I thought they looked really cute, and they look right out on to the second floor patio space where you have access to the pool. And I just thought that that was such a cool little thing to do. Man, I would have loved to have a little nook like that when I was younger in my shared bedroom with Bree, but we did not have that. And actually, if you would like to see how our bedroom looked like as a child, we actually made a video about that a couple of weeks ago. And if you want to check that out, it was a really fun video to do together, to just kind of recreate our childhood bedroom. I thought that was really fun, but you can find that video on our channel. We'd love for you to watch that as well. But I just wanted to create those two separations of space because I wanted the twins to feel like even though they had to share a room, unlike the rest of their siblings, they had their own defined spaces. And that's why I decided to create those sleeping nooks, and I really liked how they turned out. I also added in a little game table in the center of the room, and I added in a science table and a crafting table because I thought that, you know, maybe one of them was more athletic and they liked to play games and they wanted to do soccer, and maybe the other one was a little more artistic and sciencey. So that's why I added in a lot of those things, and I added in some of that sports clutter because, again, like I said, maybe one of them is into sports. And then I added in a bunch of posters everywhere because, you know, even though the parents really want to have this room, have their house be elegant and defined, I thought that in the kids' room, they had a little more leeway. The kids were allowed to put the posters up that they wanted, and they were allowed to have the kind of decorations that they wanted, and even have the colors that they wanted. Because originally, all of the kids' bedrooms I kept to be the white that is in the rest of the house, but later on, I think I changed the twins' room to being a nice light blue, and the teenage daughter's room to be a light pink to match the rest of her furniture. But I decided that the teenage son, what he really loves is he loves to do music. He has his own band. He is the lead singer and lead guitarist of his band, but he also knows how to play piano, and he just really wants to be a professional musician one day. And so he decided that he wanted to have a red wall, and his parents were like, okay, you can have red walls in your room, but because of the color, we are only letting you paint 2 of the walls red because it's just a very stark color of paint. And so he was like, fine, whatever, mom and dad. And so he is like, at least I get 2 of my walls painted. And he also has a little area where he can do his studying. That is one thing that I wish that I had growing up that I didn't have. I wish that I had a defined desk space for myself, but because I shared that room with my sister, we did not have space to have a desk for both of us, and so we just didn't have a desk in our room. And I honestly am happy now that I have my own space and I can have that, but I really kind of like wish that I had that growing up. So a lot of times in my builds, when I am doing children's builds, I kind of make the children's rooms how I would really like imagine I would love to have my room been when I was younger. So it's really, when I build in The Sims, it's kind of aspirational, if you would say. Like, a lot of the stuff that I like to build is very aspirational, and I would say that this mansion is very aspirational. And on top, of course, I decided to add in some solar panels because even though they have a large house, I wanted them to feel like they were trying to be eco and friendly to the environment and that kind of stuff. And anyway, this house is 100% an aspirational house, but one of the things that is crazy about The Sims is that this house is only like 300,000 simoleons, but we're getting into the screenshots now. I hope you all have a lovely day, and please make sure to like this video, subscribe, and comment down below to let us know what other videos you would like to see, but I'm going to let you all go now. Bye!